Laced with terms such as censorship and political interference, the Belgium-based jobs advert was far from typical. The promise of academic freedom, however, hinted at who it was aimed at: researchers in the U.S. looking to flee the funding freezes, cuts, and ideological impositions ushered in by Donald Trump's administration. "We see it as our duty to come to the aid of our American colleagues," said Jan Dankert, the rector of Vrije Universiteit Brussels, VUB, in explaining why his university, founded in 1834 to safeguard academia from the interference of church or state, had decided to open 12 postdoctoral positions for international researchers, with a particular focus on Americans. American universities and their researchers are the biggest victims of this political and ideological interference, Dankert said in a statement. "They're seeing millions in research funding disappear for ideological reasons." The university is among a handful of institutions across Europe that have begun actively recruiting U.S. researchers, offering themselves as a haven for those keen to escape the Trump administration's crackdown on research and academia. Since Trump took power in late January, researchers in the U.S. have faced a multi-pronged attack. Efforts to slash government spending have left thousands of employees bracing for layoffs, including at institutions such as NASA, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the U.S.'s preeminent climate research agency. The government's targeting of wokeism has meanwhile sought to root out funding for research deemed to involve diversity, certain kinds of vaccines, and any mention of the climate crisis. In France, the director of the prestigious Pasteur Institute in Paris, Yasmin Belkade, said it was already working to recruit people from across the Atlantic for work in fields such as infectious diseases or the origins of disease. "I receive daily requests from people who want to return, French, European, or even Americans who no longer feel able to do their research or are afraid to do it freely," Belkade told the French newspaper La Tribune. "You might call it a sad opportunity, but it is an opportunity all the same." The sentiment was echoed by France's Minister for Higher Education and Research, Philippe Baptiste, in a recent letter that called on research institutions to send in proposals on how best to attract talent from the U.S. "Many well-known researchers are already questioning their future in the U.S., he said. "Naturally, we wish to welcome a certain number of them." On Thursday, the Netherlands said it was aiming to swiftly launch a fund to attract researchers to the country. While the fund would be open to people of all nationalities, the country's education minister, Eppo Bruins, hinted at the tensions that have gripped U.S. academia in announcing the plans. "There is currently a great global demand for international top scientific talent. At the same time, the geopolitical climate is changing, which is increasing the international mobility of scientists," Bruins said in a letter to Parliament. Several European countries are responding to this with efforts to attract international talent, he added. "I want the Netherlands to remain at the vanguard of these efforts." The Dutch effort comes after France's Aix-Marseille University said it had set up a program, titled Safe Place for Science, that would put aside funding for more than 24 researchers from the U.S. for 3 years. "We wish we didn't have to do this," said Eric Burton, the university's president. "We're not looking to attract researchers. But we were quite indignant about what was happening, and we felt that our colleagues in the U.S. were going through a catastrophe. We wanted to offer some sort of scientific asylum to those whose research is being hindered." 2 weeks after the program was launched, there have been about 100 applications, with researchers from Yale, NASA, and Stanford among those who have expressed interest. "The university continues to receive about 10 applications a day," said Burton, many of them from researchers involved in studying climate, health, or social sciences. Burton said he hoped universities across Europe would join his in providing a safe space for researchers. "I think that we need to realize the historic moment we're living through and the serious, long-term consequences this could have," he said. "Europe must rise to the occasion." At VUB, the opening of the 12 postdoctoral positions was also aimed at acknowledging the global impact of Trump's crackdown. 2 research projects in which the university was involved, one delving into youth and disinformation and another investigating the transatlantic dialogue between the U.S. and Europe, had been canceled due to changed policy priorities, it said. For the university in Brussels, the openings were also a vindication of sorts. In a 2016 interview with Fox News, Trump had sought to characterize life in Brussels as akin to living in a hellhole, falsely accusing migrants in the city of failing to assimilate. At the time, the statement elicited many emotional reactions in Europe, the university said. This gives additional symbolic meaning to the VUB initiative.